Welcome to Mom's Table, a podcast where we cry, laugh, scream, play, love our kids endlessly, yet struggle with motherhood that isn't talked about often. So grab a snack, a drink of choice, and get comfy. I'm your host, Jeanette, and this is episode 1, all about me, so hang in tight. So who am I? I am Jeanette, and I am providing a safe space and outlet about motherhood, parenting, and all unique situations with this podcast. Some of these episodes will be challenging topics, but there is no judgment at this table. So with that, let's get into more. Where am I from? I am originally from El Paso, Texas, and I am currently in San Antonio. I am 27 and will be 28 in December. My favorite colors are pink and purple. 3 fun facts about me. I am 4'8.5". Yes, I know that is tiny, but I've always been called tiny. I also was called Snack Pack. From here on out, I was referred to as Snack Pack. One Halloween, I actually dressed up as a pudding snack pack, so there you have it. I have auditioned for America's Got Talent, and no, I did not make it on TV. And I am a Sagittarius. Don't ask me about like the rising sun or anything like that. I have no idea how that works. I actually was talking to my sister about it the other day, and I had zero clue until it clicked with me, and I was like, oh, okay, now I get it. I am married. I have been married for 5 years, as of the 19th in October. To my husband named Joshua. Fun fact, we met on a game that we both used to play, and one day he decided to just come down and visit me, and realistically it wasn't the ideal time. My grandmother was in the hospital. It was actually a really bad hospital stay. I remember staying up like 48 hours straight to relieve my mom, and he still wanted to come down, so I was like, okay, yeah, like whatever. And I just recently got out of a long relationship that I wasn't looking for anything, and he was persistent, and I was like, fine, like go ahead and come down. And I remember him showing up while I was still at work, and so whenever he showed up, I was like, okay, well, I'm not done, so park in this parking lot, because I didn't know if he was like a serial killer or something, right? So I had him go in a parking lot, wait for me there, and then I met him at the hotel, or showed him the way to the hotel that he was supposed to stay at. So that was interesting. And then 7 years later, here we are. We do have kids. We have 2 kids, a 3-year-old little boy named Joshua, and a 1-year-old named Carly. Joshua will be 4 in December, and Carly will be 2 in March. They're such a ham. They resemble the both of us. I might show pictures on YouTube as well as TikTok if you're interested in seeing them. So I desire to have 4 kids total. So I'm halfway there. How do we choose the names for our kids? So for my son, we decided last minute while I was getting wheeled back to my C-section, and we really didn't have a name picked out for him, and we really just wanted to get something that we agreed on. And I jokingly was like, oh, what about a junior? And of course my husband was like, yeah, let's do it. And I was like, really? And I mean, yes, I did want it at some point, but it was kind of funny in the moment. Yes, let's do a junior, like we can do this. And lo and behold, we have a junior now. And his nickname is Nugget. For Carly, I don't know, I really feel like we knew it from the very beginning, even before like she was conceived, that we wanted to name her Carly. And I think this really surfaced when we went to Florida to see his family. And I don't know if I saw the name Carly or if it just popped in my head, but whenever I mentioned it to him, he really liked that name. And her middle name is Jai, like Jai. And I really wanted that because that would represent my grandmother. Her name was Janet. And I really wanted something that was close to my grandmother's name. And so we were going to say Jay, but I wanted it to be spelt differently, and that's what I did. My dream job is to become a pediatric oncologist, and that's a cancer doctor for children. A lot of people ask, like, why did I choose that career path? And I think it's just a really good career path to be in, not for the money. It's more for like humanity. So the kids are our future, and if you can save 1 or 2 or 3 of them, that would be great. Cancer in itself is a terrible, terrible, terrible thing. And if you have known someone with cancer, I am incredibly, deeply sorry, because it's so much to go through financially, mentally, emotionally, physically. And if I can help at least one child to live, to get through it, then I would be happy, because no child, no family, no mother should go through that, or father should go through that. My dream car, I really don't know. I don't have one. I just want one that is family friendly, and I just want it to be a safe car. That's all that I desire in a dream car, because you can't really find them safe anymore, and it's sad to say. Okay, so my favorite Starbucks order right now is the strawberry acai or acai lemonade. And it has to be venti. That is my favorite Starbucks order. Or I also like to get the iced white chocolate mocha, no whipped cream. I don't know why, but I can't have whipped cream on cold coffee. I can have whipped cream on hot coffee, but not cold coffee. But yeah, so I have a couple of questions from Instagram that I want to go ahead and answer for y'all. Megan from my high school, she's one of my friends. She's also a mom. She's a mom of 2. What inspired you to create a podcast? So I was in a call center for a really, really long time, and I would say about give or take 2 years, which is still a long time. And you know, all you do is you talk to people all day long, and you hear a lot of the struggles and the hardships that they have. And sometimes you don't hear the struggles that they have until you mention something. Then they open up to you and they're like, I didn't know that I wasn't the only one going through this. And I'm really passionate about, telling my friends and my family members, being a mom is hard. You have a whole bunch of different loads that you have to take on. And there's also things that I didn't know about before becoming a mom that I wish I would have known, that not a lot of people would have thought of to tell me whenever I became a mom. And so I want to create this podcast to open up about those struggles, to open up about the different styles of parenting, and whatever parenting styles you do have, it's not wrong, but it's not for everyone. Just because I parent one way doesn't mean that Megan's going to parent the same way, or if I parent one way doesn't mean that Jane Doe is going to parent the same way either. You're still a good mom, you're still a good parent, but it's to open up all of those different topics. So just beware, if you're listening to my podcast, I will be interviewing different moms and different types of moms and different type of people who have different styles. And if that's not for you, then that's okay. But if you find someone that you do relate with, that's also okay. But this podcast is to, again, provide a safe space for everyone and to open up those struggles and those differences so that way everyone can have a community to look forward to. So I also asked, what's one thing you'd want every mom to know about becoming a mom? And some of the answers were kind of similar to mine. For me personally, I would want every mom to know the lack of sleep that you will get, whether you're bottle feeding or breastfeeding. I was totally unprepared for it, and I did not know that that was a thing. Now I'm completely adjusted to it, and I still can't get enough sleep, and it's not because of my kids at all, because they're older, right? But I think the thing is especially in my situation, whenever I had my son, I did not educate myself on breastfeeding or pumping. So I was waking up, I was feeding him about every 2 to 3 hours, and I was pumping at the same time. And by the time I was done pumping, because again, he was my first child, your milk doesn't come in right away, or your body's still adjusting to getting the milk. And it took a really long time for me to produce and to get the milk out. And by the time I was done pumping, it was time for him to eat again. So I would sleep maybe 5-10 minutes at most, and then have to wake up and do it all again. Then with my daughter, I figured out a schedule for myself, and I actually used the Haakaa. And that was a lifesaver, because yes, you're pumping kind of, it's just like a suction one that you put on there while the baby's feeding, and then you switch sides. That's a lifesaver. So I think one of the answers to that question was, buy yourself a Haakaa, you'll thank me later. Another one is, don't feel pressured to do all of the things that you need to get done. You're a mom first. You need to get stuff done, and it's okay. It's okay to leave things on your to-do list if you haven't gotten them done just right away. Someone said to leave your house the way that it is, it's meant to be lived in. Yes, I do agree with this, right? It's meant to look lived in. Of course, we always want to have a clean, safe space for our babies. But if there's toys everywhere, me personally, I'm not going to clean them up 45 times a day. I'll scoot them over so that way they're not in the way. But, just make sure that you're not tripping over Legos, which is fun, to say the least. So recovery time. Recovery time is going to be different for everyone as well, if you deliver vaginally or if you deliver by C-section. Just keep in mind it's going to be different for everyone, and that your journey is going to be, again, different than your friends. And the C-section mamas out there, I feel you, because I was a C-section mama times 2. And all the vaginal mamas, you are strong as heck, because I don't know how I could do that. I asked another question, what is the most important lesson you learned from your mom? And for me, I think it's the work ethic, being kind, and it's helped me tremendously. She always showed us, if you work hard, you play hard. And I'm still working hard to get to that play hard part. And I really think that my mom instilled that in me, to be a kind person and still work hard. And that's what I want for my children, is I want them to be kind, nice, and still be able to, a person that stands up for themselves. I don't ever want them to think that they can't. However, I still want them to do it with respect and to be nice. And that's exactly what my mom showed me, is how to be kind and still show respect, but still stand up for myself. Now, as far as the work hard, play hard, and work ethic, she has most definitely instilled that in me, and my siblings, of course. And I want her to know that I'm genuinely thankful for that, because not everyone gets shown that work ethic, and she really did show that to me, and that's a blessing. Now, some of you had stated, you guys are breaking the cycle from your parents and from your mom. And I'm so sorry that you have to go through that. Just know that this is a safe place for you to talk about anything that you want to talk about. And if you want to go in detail on that, feel free to do so. Another question I like to ask new moms or moms in general is, do you go to your mom for advice whenever it comes to your kids? Yes, I absolutely do. I tend to go to her first and say, hey, like, this is the rash that's on them. What do you think we should do? And she gives us advice as to, like, wait it out. Let's see what happens. Maybe try this. Or let's say, like, hey, well, this new behavior issue came up. How do I handle this? And she definitely gives me her advice. Now, just because she gives me advice doesn't mean that if I don't use it, I'm not listening, or if I use it, I'm listening, or she's controlling. No, that means I'm trying it out. If it works for my kids, then I will continue to do it. If it doesn't, then that's okay too. That just means I have to modify it or change exactly what she gave me and apply it somewhere else. Okay, so that is episode 1 of Mom's Table podcast. Feel free to go to YouTube and my TikTok. It's just at Mom's Table on YouTube. And then TikTok, it's just Jeanette in Texas. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe there. Feel free to give me a rating on Spotify and Apple Podcast. I appreciate you guys being here. Until next time.